Hey people, I was studying these 3 chapters on Noah's Ark, and so I pulled up these ancient pictures to study them some. And so this comes from the Nuremberg Chronicles, and it's said to be 1493. That's about 120 years before King James. It's in the Latin, but this one's even older. And this comes from the Hexatalk, it's called. It's the first 6 books. And it had a lot better clues in it. It's called the Old English Hexatalk, and it's said to be written in Old English. And it was 1010. You know, it's 1,010 years old. Translations were partly by a Benedictine monk, sometimes called the grammarian. And so it's called the Hexatalk, is like the Pentateuch is the Torah, is the 5 books of the law. Well, this is the 6 books of the law, the Hexatalk. So I was studied several more pictures, but what they have mostly in common is this Arcane. Not necessarily Noah's Ark, but the Arcane. You see it up here on the top, the Arcane. But in the Hebrew, you know, they give this word the habitano as the ark. And you see there's the habitano Khan. You know, Khan is the priest. They say is priest. It means to control. Who's got the Khan? Who's calling the shots? The habitano Khan. And then you have a couple more habitanos in the side. Can't quite make them out, but I'm sure this is the where the word alumni come from. The minus, the minis of the small to make the small alumni, maybe. The habitano of Manu, Manit. Not sure. But here's some more important words. The apothera. Apothecary is a pharmacist. So apothera is a pharmacy of herbarium. You know, the herbarium pharmacy where you get your herbs. And this is the apothera of the spinarum. I can't quite make out those letters. But this Arcano is it comes up one time in the bottom of chapter 7. This word Arcano comes right on out and tells you probably won't get this from Arcanus, arcane, meaning mystery. Arcane, understood by only a few, obscure. This word disguised here at the bottom of chapter 7, the second to the last line. And it's here. And it's in a long line. And it starts with how much. You know, W-Y, why much. Why, ancient English meaning how or who. How much talk. Next word backwards and forwards. T-A-L-K-L. Talk of. How much talk of. From wifey. You know, backwards and forwards. From wifey they fuse. And then you hit this wall and you go backwards. From the wife the look to. Come make to. Race. A race is what's going on now. The race. All in place. Had me made from odd blood in them life. The odd, then read backwards and forwards after that tack is E-M-E, is hema. The blood in them life. Odd, some remiss, you know, some turn back to the old. You know, it's If you ever try to plant the seed from your hybrid vegetables, you know that it slowly go back to heritage. They'll go back to where they came from. You keep planting seeds from your hybrids, and they always revert. Some remiss. They go back to the old heritage. And would the pussy up? P-U-O is to see up. Would pussy up the same is how much two men share ears. How much two men talk about. The pussy up the same is how much two men talk about. And is V-I-S, and is R-K-A-H-N-E H-N-H, and is arcane, and is understood by few, was first what Tabit have. You know, the final V doesn't have the dot, so it's a V-E, like apostrophe V-E means to have. Was first what Tabit is the writings in it, was first what Tabit have. So I said before, in the Hebrew it doesn't say Noah built the ark. It says he rebuilt the old ark had from. He keeled the hull, and to lay keel is to build a new boat. To keel the hull is to fix the old boat. And so in this Latin here, you see it's got the rainbow, and it lets me know it's from the Latin or the Greek story, which came later. And here's another clue. It starts here with Aries. And so in the Hebrew story, it's Taurus. It's the bull. You know, the time of Adam was here in Gemini. And then later on came the time of the bull, Noah's Ark. And then Moses was the time of Aries. You know, and then the time of Jesus, they put this the fish up here first. Everything shifts over. And then we're moving into the time of Aquarius, and that'll move up, and everything moves down one as the precession of equinox goes. And so this Arcus, you know, it's not the ark is not the boat. The ark is the rainbow. And the colors in the rainbow also tells me that this comes from the Latin or the Greek story, because the Hebrew story was an Aryan white power story, and that's why it was a flood. You know, the joke is that black people can't swim, and it's not just a joke. There's a lot of truth in it. I've been doing it for a long time. I'm a water survival specialist, and black people have a much harder time trying to teach them to swim. They panic when they see the water, and they'll make a zoot suit sink. But that was the joke, is the flood was to erase the black people from the earth. And so the Italians are said to be half black. But this isn't my words, this comes straight out the Hebrew. And you see it here in chapter 9, in the covenant of the rainbow. And it starts here at 13, and it's 2, you know, starts with A, it's backwards 2, and then the hyphen tells me read this backwards and forwards. So it's I-T-S-F-S-T. You know, it's fist. The Q is the PH or the F. To its fist in tight. To its fist, I-N-T-T-I. To its fist in tight, bon and white. Bon means good. And to its fist in tight, bon and white. W-E-I-T-E or W-H-I-T-E. Of out in writ. B-R-I-T as in British. In writ. In the writ, the covenant. Of ought in writ. of ought, like you ought to do that. Of ought is ought is a decimal point of the smallest part of iota. You know, the point of ought in writ. Benny to veneers. Benny is your sons. You know, they give everything with a BN, BNI, or BN sons, but this is sons in English, the Benny. They still use in Australia. The Benny to ven, it doesn't have a dot, to veneers. Veneers is the color on the outside. Veneers. And you also see this in Zia Sudra. That's the Sumerian story of the flood, and Zia Sudra was the Noah. And the story of Zia Sudra's birth, you know, he was white-headed, and his dad went to the god Enki and asked him, you know, something wrong with my son, he's all white. And Enki was the white god, the white-headed, he was the real father of Zia Sudra. He hit that while his dad was off at work. And he said, no, there's nothing wrong with him, he's just white. So everybody that reads this, you know, they're not understanding it, but, you know, it's the Arcane, and not many are going to understand this. But it doesn't have to do with any of that. What it has to do with is how the astrology is changing. It's how to shift. How to shift for the new astrology in the new ages. You can see it here again. The water is a flood to destroy all flesh. Is owed the missile from bullshit. The colors inshore. And you can see here in this next line, the white, the fist, bond, and wear rate tie. Where rate tie, the rate is weathered. The rate, R-A-I-T, means weather, out there in the weather. Where rate tie, where the weather tie of Zachar. Zachar is the tool to give first. You know, the dick. The Zachar is usually the male. Where the Zachar in writ, owls, O-W-L-S. Owls, it means old and wise. Old and wise between. From the yell that they give God, this is the backbone, the Mael, the backbone, the power of Vin. You see, it doesn't have the dot in here like here, that's a V-I-N. A Vin call span nips. This word NPS, they usually give it life or soul or creature, but this is the span nips, and this has everything to do with Freemasonry. And that's what the divider's for, to check the span. And nips are the closest point between two columns that you have to run a span. The span nips. You see it in all this Freemasonry. They always spanning the nips of the columns. If you search hard enough, you'll find some of the oldest one with the spanner touching right up on the top of the nips. But if you're going to build an arch, you know, you have to check the span, the nips of the span, where the weight's going to sit, and do all your figuring from there, and cut all of your bevels, as in Babylon, is just spelled B-V-L. You have to bevel all these stones. All these stones have to be beveled to make the arch. To bevel on. You can see this Zachar here. They give it the male. And this starts with AS backwards. It's kata. Kata means according to give credit to. In all the Gospels, you know, to be kata Matthew, according to Matthew, to give the credits to Matthew. according to Zachar, uncover. And then the unclean animals, was to bring 2. And it's called the snim. It's actually the sins, S-N-I-S, the signs, sins, the sin signs. And the only place you're ever going to hear this is in the Pirates of the Caribbean when Elizabeth gets married and Jack says snim, and it means to couple up. Snim, 2 by 2, to couple up. Snim. But here at the clean animals, you should take with you 7. And you see they got a different word for male here. But it's the 7C was 2. They changed the word for male and female. It's usually, they say the Zachar and Nephab. Or the Zachar went uncover. But if you look at this oldest photo, everything that's coupled up, the snim down here, you see a lot of the clean animals, in the dietary. These are all rated clean animals. These aren't unclean. And all the birds, you have 9 beasts down here that's snim. And you have 10 sets of birds that's snim. But the clean animals are these 7 women that Noah brought on the ark. The clean animals. And so the word for animals, you can see it here, the WMN. The C was to women, WMN, the women, and then backwards and forwards. And so this is the blood, EME, the Hema. The blood be in them life. The animals is the women, the blood be in them life. The race of their who the signs see. You can see the signs in the race of their who signs see was 2. And so the signs to see in here of their race, it looks like they're all white. And I'm going to cut this off here. You can, it's not a really easy chapter to read because they've changed the meaning of so many of them words. And like I say, because this was first an Aryan book. And then later on, they tried to make it more inclusive of the rainbow of all colors because the Italians were mixed breed. They were mixed of all colors, and so they changed the writings for that. All right, good day.